want to? Absolutely. Hi, hello, I'm Anne. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be bringing you my Romantasy Bingo board for 2025/2026. This bingo board was created by Covers with Cassidy. I'll link it down below and her video down below if you want to check it out. And this runs from the 1st of November until the 31st of October of next year. We have this beautiful bingo board that we are going to be trying to fill out. And just like with the Our Fantasy Bingo, there is a couple of rules. We have easy mode and we have hard mode. And I'm going to be trying to black out the full board with all of hard mode's prompts. Fingers crossed for me, because a lot of these books I'm very excited for. But the other rule is that you can't double up on authors. You want to try and have every single prompt featuring a different author, which is very exciting. So I've got a stack of books that I definitely want to get to over the next year that fit hard mode for these prompts. I'm pretty sure. If they don't, please let me know in the comments below if you think that something else, if something doesn't fit for one of the prompts or for hard mode, and give me some recommendations, because I'm always looking for more. So let me just pull up the spreadsheet with the hard mode prompts on it as well, so I can talk you through it. But make sure to check out Cassidy's channel and her video if you want the full details. So the first prompt is new release and pubbed the year that you read it. So I'm hoping to read a 2025 release for this, and the hard mode is a debut author. And the book that I'm going to be reading for this is Dire Bound by Sable Sorensen. And I know that this was recently released, but I don't know a hell of a lot about it, to be honest with you. I think it started as an indie and then it went trad, but I'm very intrigued. So this is the Wolves of Ruin series by Sable Sorensen, and this is the only worthy survive the bonding trials. She'll risk her life, her heart, to be one of them. Meryn Cooper has never dreamed of being one of the bonded, the king's elite warriors who form mental links with massive vicious dire wolves. She's made peace with her life, scrapping by in poverty and shadows of the castle, but then her younger sister Sayla is kidnapped, stolen across the border by the immortal monsters her country has spent centuries fighting, and Meryn's world falls apart. Desperate to cross the front and save her sister, Meryn enlists in the army, only to discover that there are bonding trials this year, where all soldiers are forced to risk their lives in an attempt to connect with the dire wolf. It's too late to turn back. Meryn is thrown into deadly competition against her will. Now she'll need to survive the next 4 months of training at the castle if she wants a chance of finding Sayla. Everything here is a test, from the brutal classes where one mistake means death, to the glittering court parties where every smile hides a knife. To make things worse, Meryn is bound to a feral dire wolf who refuses to communicate. The other trainees would love to spill her common blood, and her gorgeous instructor, Stark Therion, is as malicious as the wolves himself. Everyone is out to get her, everyone but the dangerously handsome crown prince, Killian Valterrier. But if she loses her heart to him, she may also lose her life, and the castle is hiding dark secrets. Sounds interesting. This is comped as Fourth Wing meets the Hunger Games in a dark, action-packed fantasy series, perfect for Romantasy fans of Akatar, The Serpent of the Wings of Light, When the Moon Hatched, and Quicksilver. Love all of those things, so I'm very intrigued about this one, and I definitely want to get to it. The next prompt is Hidden Identity, with the hard mode prompt being Not Royalty. And from what I know, A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden definitely fits both of these prompts. I was gifted this by Jessica Cody, so a massive thank you to Jessica for sending this to me. It was very nice to get this in the mail. It's been sitting on my shelf for quite a while now, unfortunately. But captured by the King of Darkness, forced to find the light within, Arwen Valendale never expected to be the brave one, offering her life to save her brothers. Now she is taken prisoner by the most dangerous kingdom on the continent and made to use her rare magical abilities to heal the soldiers of the vicious Onyx King. Arwen knows better than to face the ancient wicked woods that surround the castle on her own, which means working with a fellow prisoner might be her only path to freedom. Unfortunately, he is as infuriating as he is cunning, and seems to take twisted pleasure in playing on Arwen's deepest fears. To make it out of enemy territory, she'll have to navigate backstabbing worlds, dark magic, and deadly beasts, but untold power lies inside Arwen, dormant and waiting for a spark. If she can harness it, she just might be able to escape with her life and hopefully her heart. So she's hiding that this dark this secret magic she has in her, which is her hidden identity. And she's definitely not royalty from what I know. So I'm very, very intrigued about this one. I've heard great things about it, especially from my friend Pashi. So I'm very, very excited for this one. And the cover is just stunning. The next prompt is to take down the system, and the hard mode is a dystopian setting. And this book kind of kicked off this dystopian sort of setting for a lot of romantasy at the moment, and that is Silver Elite by Danny Francis. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this, and I'm very, very excited. So her mind is her deadliest weapon is the tagline here on the top. I've heard nothing but amazing things from this from everyone. In the first, trust no one. Ren Darlington has spent her whole life in hiding, honing her abilities and aiding the uprising in small ways. On the continent, being modified means certain death, and Ren is one of the most powerful mods in existence. When one careless mistake places her hand in the hands of the enemy, she is forced to join their most elite training program. She's finally handed the perfect opportunity to strike a devastating blow from inside the ranks. Lie to everyone. But trading for silver block can be deadly, especially when you're harboring dangerous secrets and living in close quarters with the people who want you dead. And whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. As the stakes grow even higher, Ren must prove herself to silver block, but that's easier said than done when your commanding officer is the ruthless and infuriating irresistible Cross Redden. And as war rages between mods and those who aim to destroy them, Ren must decide just how far she's willing to go to protect herself and how much of the continent is worth saving. I got this from the library, so I'm definitely going to be picking this up very, very soon. And it's funny that they have the sci-fi element on there when it says dystopian romance. So definitely interesting, and I'm very, very intrigued. I've heard such great things about this, and I definitely wanted to take it out from the library because it was available, and I didn't want to. I'm trying to limit my buying habits, but if I love this, I'm definitely going to be picking up a physical copy and owning it on my shelf. The next prompt is a BIPOC author, with the hard mode being flowers on the cover, and another one that I've had on my shelf for a while that I don't think this is flowers. This doesn't look like flowers. They look like flower petals. Well, let me know in the comments below if you think that this book counts. But the Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole is the Gods and Monsters series. Book 1. Book 4 has just recently released, so I'm definitely intrigued to get to this one. I've heard nothing but amazing things. This did start as indie again, and it did get traditionally published. So where there are gods, there are also monsters. For thousands of years, the world has known peace until now. Many centuries ago, desperate to save her dying sister, Diana made a deal with Caden, a monster far worse than any nightmare. Locked in servitude to him, she is forced to hunt down an ancient relic held by her most dangerous enemies, an army led by Zamkiel, the World Ender. After the gods' war, Zamkiel hid from everything, denying his crown and deserting his people. Now an attack on those he loves sends him back to the realm he never wished to return to, and into the sights of an enemy he had hoped to forget. With every world at stake, Diana and Zamkiel are forced to set aside their animosity and to work together before all is lost. Sounded interesting, but yeah, again, let me know if you think that this counts for this prompt, because there is like these petals things here, but a lot of it is leaves. So let me know what you think in the comments below if you think that this counts. But yeah, I'm very, very intrigued. It is a bit of a chunky boy, but I'm very excited, and I've had it on my shelf for a while. The next prompt is first person, and hard mode is a new to you author. And the book that I've picked for this is The Wolf King, Lauren Palfreyman. I think that's how you say it. But I don't really know much about this. I think there's wolves involved. That's all I know. When a princess is kidnapped by an alpha, war rages between the humans and the wolves. But soon forbidden attraction starts to grow. Princess Aurora longs to escape the castle and the marriage she's been arranged for her. But on the night before her wedding, at a dogfight where captured werewolves are made to fight for sport, she spares the life of a young wolf. It puts her on the radar of a powerful alpha who is going to kill him, and it changes everything. That night, when the alpha escapes, he kidnaps her and takes her to the rugged lands north of the border, where the once warring werewolf clans are beginning to unite. He thinks that she is the key to winning the war against the humans. Only as they spend time around one another, forbidden attraction starts to grow, and as Aurora learns that not all wolves are bad, the alpha discovers that she is a danger from both his enemies and those he once considered friends. With monsters on both sides, a bloodthirsty war between humans and wolves raging, and an undeniable passion growing between them, will their story end in love or tragedy, and will Aurora ever get home does she even want to? I've heard really good things about this. It's my book club read, so I'm very, very excited for that one. The next one is Blank of Blank, and hard mode is not Fae. And I had such trouble finding one for this, but then I realized that the Bonds of Hercules, book 2 of the Blood of Hercules series, matches. It is Bonds of Hercules, and it is not Fae. They are Greek gods. Book 1 features our main character who ends up finding out that she has god blood in her and she gets pulled to the school. But basically, our main character ends up in this setting where she has to fight for her life. She has to go through all this training to become one with her powers. And this is sort of a dystopian setting as well. We are way into the future and the gods have kind of come back. And she has this sort of weird dynamic with her trainers and then also her mentors as well. And it just blows up. There is a lot of things that happen. So in book 2, we're going to be following on from the ending of book 1, which was definitely interesting, and I'm very intrigued to get to that one. The next one is Indie to Trad Pipeline, and it's a sequel for the hard mode. And I'm going to be picking up Brimstone by Callie Hart. So we all know Quicksilver blew up last year and then became traditionally published, and now we're finally getting the long-awaited sequel, Brimstone. Brimstone is following on from book 1, where we're following our main character. This is Quicksilver. So in Sarah's Fane, and she ends up getting pulled into this different world where her magic that she has kept a secret is needed to kind of help them win a battle. She comes face to face with death herself. She inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to a land of ice and snow. The first of her kind to enter in over 1,000 years, Ceres mistakenly binds herself to Kingfisher, a handsome Fey warrior with an agenda of his own. He will use her powers to protect his people, no matter what it costs him or her. And it's definitely very, very good, and I cannot wait for book 2 because look how much I loved book 1. Book 2 is coming out very, very soon, so I'm very excited for that one. So I'm hoping that I can tick off quite a few of these prompts before the end of the year, but we shall see. The next one is Rep Matters and Own Voices. So for this one, I'm going to be picking up Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha Day Tooley. This is the Artifacts of Koranos, number 1. I've heard really good things about this, and this author is actually coming to a bookish event in 2027, so it'll be the perfect opportunity for me to check out her book. 10 women, a deadly contest. One will win the Sun King's heart. Thor has endured 12 long years of torment under Aurora's king's rule. Her only desire is to escape and pay him back for every moment of misery she's endured. When a surprise release finds her in the hands of the rival Sun King, Thor is thrust into the spotlight as she competes against 9 other tributes for the role of queen. If she wins his heart, she'll earn her freedom and finally get her revenge. But Laura doesn't belong in the Sun Queen trials. Not only does she not understand why she was freed, she isn't a citizen of the Sun King's court. The other tributes resent her presence and will stop at nothing to ensure Laura is removed from the competition permanently. Now Laura must win because if she loses, she dies. Or worse, she'll be returned to the evil and now vengeful Aurora King. Sounds interesting, and I cannot wait for that one. The next one is Start a New Series, and the hard mode is Author Writes in Multiple Genres. And I'm going to be picking up Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. And I'm very excited about this one because this is Devney Perry's debut into adult romantasy. She normally writes contemporary romance, so I'm very intrigued. I haven't checked out her contemporary, but I really want to check out this one. So the gods sent monsters to the 5 kingdoms to remind mortals they must kneel. I spent my life kneeling to their will and to my father's. As a princess, my only duty is to wear the crown and obey the king. I was never meant to rule, never meant to fight, and I was never supposed to be the daughter who sealed an ancient treaty with her own blood. But that changed the fateful day I stepped into my father's throne room. The day a legendary monster hunter sailed to our shores. The day a prince ruined my life. Now I'm crossing treacherous lands beside a warrior who despises me as much as I despise him, bound to a future I didn't choose and a husband I barely know. Everyone wants me to be something I'm not, a queen, a spy, a sacrifice. But what if I refused the role chosen for me? What if I made my own rules? What if there's power in being underestimated? And what if, for the first time, I reached for it? So what I know is I think that the sister was supposed to be the one who marries this monster, and then she ends up in the scenario where she ends up having to marry him instead, and she's not very happy about it. The next one is urban setting, and it is a secondary world. So it is sort of, it resembles our world, but it's not our world. It's not actually Earth. And I'm going to be picking up City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. And again, this is another one that I've heard a lot of good things about, and one I've been meaning to pick up for quite a while. But this is Lauren Calla has only ever been ordinary. As a human struggling to survive in a city that caters to the needs of vampires, werewolves, witches, and other supernatural creatures, she's always assumed her life would remain simple, predictable, and as safe as her world would allow. Until she barely escapes abductions at the hands of the Dark Slayers, supernatural bounty hunters that possess the sight and magical tracking ability that allows them to see a person's aura, and one of her friends is taken in her place. The abductors are demanding a ransom, Lauren's life in exchange for her friend's safe return. Lauren will do whatever it takes to get her friend back, even if it means accepting help from Darian Cassell, the leader of the Seven Devils, the most feared dark slaying circle in the city. Sounds interesting. I've heard great things about it. I know that this is a 4-book series so far. Book 5 is possibly coming out very, very soon, but I've heard great things about it and I cannot wait. And this is another chunky series that I can't wait to get my teeth into. So the next prompt is Ghosts and Ghouls, with the hard mode being a love interest is a ghost or ghoul or a demon of that kind. And one that I want to pick up is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. All I know about this is that our main character's sister ends up getting murdered, and then she makes a deal with this demon to find out what happened to her sister, and it also follows their romance. I'm pretty sure that each book is a standalone romance, so like it's an interconnected series, but each one follows someone else. Or maybe that's her other series. Maybe this one is the actual full trilogy. I have no idea, but I have this full trilogy on my shelf for a long time. I bought book 1 and then was gifted book 2 and book 3. And I know I like Kerri Maniscalco's writing from Stalking Jack the Ripper, so I definitely want to check out this one. Amelia and her twin sister Victoria are Strehe, witches who secretly live among humans, avoiding notice and persecution until one night Victoria misses dinner service at the family's renowned Sicilian restaurant. Amelia soon finds the body of her beloved twin, desecrated beyond belief. Devastated, Amelia vows to seek vengeance at any cost, even if it means using dark magic that's been long forbidden. Then Amelia meets Wrath, one of the wicked princes of hell she has been warned against since she was a child. Wrath claims to be on Amelia's side, tasked with solving the series of murders on the island. But when it comes to the wicked, nothing is as it seems. So I've heard, yeah, I'm very intrigued. This is one that's been out for quite a while, so I'm definitely wanting to check it out. And yeah, next one that I want to read is the prompt is Voice Inside Your Head and Not an Animal Companion. And the series that I want to read is the Broken Bond series by Jay Bree. So what I know about this is a reverse harem why choose dynamic. She has a bunch of different mates, and for some reason she ends up running away and rejecting her mates, but she can still hear them in her mind, and they kind of have that mind-to-mind communication. That's all I really know. Don't really know a hell of a lot much else about it, but I'm currently reading a Why Choose Romantasy series that I feel like I should finish before I jump into this one. So this might be later on in next year that I check this one out. But Jay Bree is definitely a very popular author that I've heard amazing, great things about. So I'm very, very excited for that one. The next one is Friend Wreck, and this hard mode is from Cassidy's channel. And one that she has recommended on her channel before is Blood and Steel by Helen Schurer. This is the Legends of Thesmar book 1. This is the kind of there's an interconnected series that goes with this, but you're recommended that you read Blood and Steel first. So all I know about this is there was a prophecy that says that a woman bearing a sword will bring the end of times. So in this world, they decide to ban women from ever being part of the army, being allowed to hold a dagger or a sword, and we're following our main character who ends up becoming a Legend of Thesmar for some strange reason, and her forbidden romance. Althea Soltaire only has 3 years to become what she's always dreamed of being, a warrior legend. Women are forbidden to wield blades, so she has trained in secret her entire life. Now racing against the clock, she fights to secure her place in an elite guild charged with the protection of the Five Kingdoms. The sparring and hazing of the new trainees border on deadly, but even more dangerous is her growing attraction to Wilder Hawthorne, her unwilling warrior chaperone. All around them, schemes are afoot and darkness looms. Will Althea pass the perilous initiation test and take her place as a champion of Thesmar, or will the invading evil snatch away her dream before it starts? So this is a 4-book series, and I've been meaning to read this. This is going to be also part of my Rosie reading vlog, where I read this whole series because Rosie really, really loves this, and I cannot wait. And this was gifted to me by the wonderful Brie, so massive thank you, Brie, for getting me this off my wish list. The next one is Booktop Hype, and still the hard mode is still indie at the time of reading, so I'm hopefully going to get to this one very, very soon because I think it's going trad very soon. But the book that I'm picking up is A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly by Sophia Saint Germain. This is the compelling Fates saga. And this is about how Fae Alicia could have had anything, literally. Since her magic allows her to compel anyone to do her bidding by merely looking into her eyes, the world was at her feet. But after a tragic accident, she is thrown into the Fae King's dungeons and forced to swear a blood oath to him, binding her to his service. 5 years later, she's living amongst humans in Elo and has created a life for herself as much as she can, with the king's promise to call in his debt looming over her. When he finally comes to collect, she is made to infiltrate the human elections to determine whether the current regime is involved in strange things happening in the land of Fae. With the promise of freedom from the king's claws, Alicia is determined to see it through. Liberty is within reach as long as she can keep the lethal Fae guard watching over her from eliminating her before she unearths the information the king seeks. But as she grows closer to the brooding human regent, and secrets begin to unravel, Alicia realizes greater forces may be at play, and she might stand before the choice between her and her own freedom and that of the nation. I've heard that this is the slowest of slow burns. I don't think any romance actually happens in book one, and I'm very intrigued. I have been meaning to read this one for a long, long time. The next prompt is Forbidden Romance, and hard mode is not enemies to lovers. We know Forbidden Romance generally leads to enemies to lovers sort of dynamic, but the one that I'm picking up is Blood Mercy, and this is more friends to lovers from what I know. So Blood Mercy is by Vila Ross, and what I know about this is we've got a vampire and a human who become friends, and their romance starts to blossom. This is a very long series. One human, one immortal. Will their alliance save the kingdom, or will their forbidden love be a death sentence? When Cassia seeks out a Hesperine, he could end her mortal life in a heartbeat, but she has no fear of his magic or his fangs. She knows the real monster is the human king, her father. If he finds out she's bargaining with his enemy, he'll send her to the executioner. As a Hesperine diplomat, Leo must negotiate with mortals who hate him. Cassia is different, but politics aren't why she captivates the gentle immortal. He wants more than her blood, and if he can't resist the temptation, he'll provoke the war he's trying to prevent. It's a very slow burn, steamy romance with classic fantasy world building, and I've heard great things about this series. I've definitely read Vila Roth's novella Blood Tribute, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I'm definitely very excited to get into this one. She has such lush purple prose writing, and I cannot wait to get to that one. The next prompt is trials and an academic setting. Quite a few of these do have a lot of trials in here, but they're not really an academic setting. But the one that I'm picking up is Arcana Academy, and all I know about this is our main character is in prison for creating a tarot card that she shouldn't have with the magic that she also shouldn't have. But she ends up in contact with this headmaster of a school, and he decides that he needs her to help him with a task. So she ends up going to this academy where she has to go through these trials to pass school, but also she is now the new bride of this headmaster, and I'm very intrigued about it. I've heard amazing things, and I know one of my great friends, Pashi, really, really loves this book, so I definitely want to check it out. So the next prompt is 2 plus love interests, and the hard mode is not a love triangle. So we're leaning more into that reverse harem why choose. Quite a few of these books I've already spoken about do kind of have that why choose sort of dynamic, because I do really enjoy that in my reading. But the one that I'm going to be picking up is Her Rabid Beasts by E.P. Bally. This is book 2 in the Her Feral Beasts series, and I'm definitely going to be picking this up very, very soon. But in this one, we're following our main character who ends up running away because she is forced into a marriage that she didn't really want, and something happens where her husband dies and she is accused of murdering him, and she goes on the run, and her mates come after her because she has rejected them, and they're very angry with that. So they have made a deal with her father to bring her back to him. So in book one, she ends up in this sort of school where the feral beasts go, and she is then trying to escape while also dealing with the three mates that are in there with her, and they're growing attraction to one another, and like dealing with knowing her father is trying to kill her. And it's just a really good series, and I'm very excited to continue with that one. We're almost there, guys. The next prompt is single POV and published 5 years or more ago. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be rereading Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. I read this recently on audio, but I do want to pick it up. I think I read it last year maybe on audio, but I do want to pick this one up again because it was a 5-star read for me, and I was writing down so many quotes that I really, really loved. So I do want to reread it physically and then annotate it and continue with this series. And this was also gifted to me from Brie. So massive thank you to Brie for gifting this to me as well. You definitely have bulked up my bookshelves. But this is following our main character, Calypso. She's a siren and she's got a big problem, one that stretches up her arm and far into her past. For the last 7 years, she's been collecting magical IOUs for favours she's received. Only death or repayment will fulfill the obligations. Only then when the beads disappear. Everyone knows that if you need a favour, you go to the bargainer to make it happen. He's a man who can get anything you want at a price. And everyone knows that sooner or later he always collects. When Callie finds Spargner in her room, a grin on his lips and a twinkle in his eyes, she knows everything is about to change. At first, it's just a chast kiss, a single bead's worth, and a promise for more. For the Bargainer, it's more than just a matter of rekindling an old romance. Something is happening in the other world. Fae warriors are going missing, one by one. Only the women are returned, each in a glass casket, a child clutched to their breast, and then there are the whispers among the slaves. Whispers of an evil that's been awoken. I love this book so freaking much. The yearning and the romance that blossoms between these two is absolutely stunning. And this goes back and forth between the before timeline and the present timeline, where we're following Calypso as she's younger, as she is dealing with a lot of things that are happening, and the Bargainer actually being her only friend. And the thing with the Bargainer is he will only provide you with one favor at a time. So, but Calypso ends up having a full sleeve of these beads, and you're throughout the whole story, you're kind of figuring out why that is and why their relationship is just really, really special. And I loved it, and I cannot wait to continue with the series because the Bargainer is the man, and I cannot wait to read more because I love him with all my heart. Next one is Court Setting with an animal on the cover, and the book that I'm going to be reading for this is Feathers So Vicious by Liv Sander. Yes, I've heard this is very dark. So this is the Court of Ravens duology, and there is a raven on the cover, and it has a court setting because it's the Court of the Ravens. But more treacherous than war are the battles within a heart. Perched between branches and shadows, we watch, we scheme, fighting for a kingdom forgotten and forlorn, until we rip her away with our claws, our prisoner, our pawn, our plaything. She's innocent and pure, fragile and helpless, but oh so guilty by blood. She calls us beasts, wicked and evil, vicious and cruel. We are all that and worse. One of us offers her shelter beneath his wings, whispering promises of pleasure, seeking redemption. The other longs to shatter her into a million pieces, whispering promises of pain, seeking revenge. Caught between our feathers, she endures our deranged desires, our secrets, our lies, our twisted plans. But will she surrender to our darkness or fight for a destiny growing ever elusive? Welcome to the Court of Ravens, Little Dove. So I've heard that this is very, very dark. There are certain things that happen in here that are very disturbing, and there is definitely a kind of warning at the bottom of the blurb. So the two-part story features two morally grey raven shifters, a young woman at the mercy of the shadows, and a happily ever after. This world contains dark elements, violence, and themes some may find disturbing. I've heard certain things that happen in this story that I'm kind of nervous about, but also very intrigued. The next one is A Whole New World, so Portal Fantasy, and this hard mode is a retelling or a reimagining. And the book that I want to read is A Thorn in Every Heart by Kate King. Some of my friends read this and really, really loved it, and this is the Beauty and the Beast retelling, and this is the Enchanted Legacy series, book one. So, what if Belle never returned to the Enchanted Castle? After her cheating husband ruins her life, 29-year-old musician Alexandra Knight moves from Chicago to Iron Hill, Pennsylvania, a near abandoned Appalachian coast town with fiery history. Officially, she's there with her aging grandmother. Unofficially, Alex just wants to escape reality. She'll get her wish. Sounds interesting, and I cannot wait. I've heard great things about this. Some of my really good friends read this and loved it, so I'm very excited for that one. And I know that it is the Beauty and the Beast retelling. The next one is Reluctant Allies to Lovers, with the hard mode being Marriage of Convenience. And the book that I'm going to be reading is House of Bane and Blood by Alexis L. Menard. And this is a Vows and Vengeance series, book one. After the death of my father, I vowed that if I ever met a member of the Atano family, I'd kill them. Instead, I married one. Magic, smoke, and steam swirl in the air. High in the mansions, the ruling cartels play games of blood and secrets, while monsters lurk in the alleyways below. Once I was the most powerful heiress in the city, then the Atanos killed my father and left my family business empire in ruins. I'll do whatever it takes to get it back. So when the man who destroyed my world offers to pay our debts in exchange for my hand in marriage, I have no choice but to accept. Nicolio Antonio is everything I was raised to hate. Arrogant, heartless, and devastatingly handsome, he leads a group of criminals with lethal magic abilities. I know I can't trust him, but Nikolai claims his offer is strictly business. If I help him find the serial killer who stalks the street on his side of the city, he will release me from a contract. As we plunge into an older world of magic and forbidden desires, I can't deny the attraction drawing me to my new husband, or the thrilling power I feel whenever he's around. Sounds so good. If you love morally grey, love interests, warring mafia houses, dark magic, and spicy rivals to lovers romance, Kiss of Bane and Blood is your new romantasy obsession. Very exciting, cannot wait, and I've heard amazing things about it. The next prompt is one word title, and hard mode is gothic. And the one that I'm going to be picking up is Anathema by Kerry Lake. All I know about this is there's something with the dark woods that no one goes in because they believe that if you go in, you never come out. And we're following this main character who is born right on, who's found as a baby right at the edge of the forest. So she has this sort of mysticism about her, and she ends up going into the forest and into a new world. That's all I know about it. That's all I want to know about it. It is a chunky boy, and I'm very excited to check that one out. The next one is A Shift of Romance and Not Wolves. And from what I know, A Ruin of Roses by K.F. Breffney. Heard really good things about this. And I've had it on my shelf on my Kindle for a long, long time. So a spicy new twist on an old classic, a deliciously dark Beauty and the Beast reimagining. I could save him, but he would ruin me. The Beast, the creature that stalks the forbidden wood, the Dragon Prince. He has suffered a fate worse than death. We all have, a curse put upon us by the Mad King. We are a kingdom locked in time, shifters unable to feel our animals, stuck here by a deal between the late king and a demon who seeks our destruction. The only one keeping this kingdom alive is Naifen, the golden prince who's to a stolen throne, the last dragon shifter. He's our hope. He's my nightmare. When he catches me trespassing in the forbidden wood, he doesn't punish me with death, and he's entitled. He takes me instead, forces me back to the castle as his prisoner, seeks to use me. Apparently I can save him. I can save the whole forgotten kingdom, locked away by the demon king's power. But it would mean taming the monster beneath his skin. It would mean giving myself to him. It would mean my ruin. I've had this one on my Kindle for a long time, so it's about time that I finally read it. So the next one is A Weapon on the Cover and a Powerless Main Character. And this is the perfect opportunity for me to finally pick up Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is a YA fantasy series where in this world everyone has powers, and if you don't have powers, you get killed. Something like that. So the elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Aaliyah and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Peyton Gray, an ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. When she unexpectedly saves one of Elia's princes, Kai Azar, she's thrown into the purging trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feelings for will, if he discovers what Peyton is, completely ordinary. So she's got no powers, and there's a sword on the cover here. I've heard mixed things about this series, but I'm very intrigued to actually go into this one and see. I know people love book 1 and then didn't like book 2 and then enjoyed book 3, I think, from what I've heard, but we shall see. I definitely want to check it out and prepare my own thoughts and feelings on the book. So, last prompt is a chunky series, so 4+ books, and the hard mode is a series is interconnected with another. And the series that I'm picking up, wanting to check out, is the Lady of Darkness series by Melissa K. Rorick. So I know that there is another series that is interconnected to this one, which is the Reign of Shadows or something series. But I know I've heard that this is very close to Throne of Glass, and I'm kind of excited. A cage owned by a ruthless assassin lord, Scarlett Monroe and her 2 sisters have been trained since they were children to torture and take life. They are the most feared trio on the continent, but they are also wild and unpredictable. A tragic night had Scarlett finding herself locked away in a noble's household, trapped and forgotten until she's ready to fall in line. A choice. Until the day she is presented with a job, if she completes the assignment, her payment will be something she has coveted for 10 years. Revenge against the Fae Fire Prince who brutally killed her mother 10 years ago. If she is willing to sacrifice her ideals for retribution. A mystery. But when children begin disappearing from her home, all her plans are put on hold as she races to save the most innocent. With the help of old friends, a jilted lover, and a mysterious newcomer who claims the magic of the Fae is possible in mortal lands. Scarlett delves into the darkest corners of the world. Forgotten secrets will come to light, and she will discover the darkness extends far beyond her own kingdom. Sounds really good. Cannot wait to check it out. But yeah, this is definitely connected to her other series from what I can remember. The Reign of Shadow and Ending series, I think, is part of that world. So yeah, that is all of the books that I want to read for Covers with Cassidy's Romantasy Bingo. Make sure to like this video if you liked it. Comment down below if you're taking part in what books you're going to be reading, and if you think some of these books hit hard mode or not. And subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Bye.